What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video, and today I should make another fun video for you guys. And this is like the last story that I can do as an inspirational babbling loner story, because I don't have anything else to really well, the only reason I call it an inspiring story from babbling loner, it's because it has some similarities at the beginning of my story. So I'm gonna go with the Alejandra story. And this is a girl that I think it's like the first girl that I came across as a beautiful girl. Her name was Jenny. So basically, how it all started was this particular time in history of my family. They became a partnership with a guy that they used to know. They were trying to see if they had what it takes to have a grocery store, and they end up making an agreement for 6 months. And during those 6 months, my parents wanted to try it out and see if they can kind of change a little bit things about our lives, so we don't have to do the jobs that we still do today. But unfortunately, the grocery store, it had done well for 2 months, and it kind of went down because this is the time when, if I'm not mistaken, it was way before the pandemic ever started, but things were kind of shifting towards a negative economy, so people were not really buying. And also our location wasn't at a great, our store was not in a great location. The location, it was kind of close to a highway, so a lot of people were not really interested in passing by. So after the 6 months agreement ended, we decided to cut ties and everything. But that dude was a pretty good dude, so he ended up liking our cleaning services, so we ended up doing some cleaning services for his store. So this is a time where I became friends with a guy that worked on the butcher area. He was like, I don't know what he did exactly, but every time I would go in, he was basically almost an hour before he ended his shift. We became good friends, and we started hanging out. We started getting some food, and we ended up going to the fair. And he started asking me if I wanted to, because he already knew about my history. He knew that I kind of lacked the social skills, not because I was shy or anything. He really believed that me going to the clubs was the best answer to my problems, which it was like, go to the club, find a girl, and that's you determine your destination. Well, I started going to the club. I was completely amateur. I didn't even know the atmosphere was going to be very intense because I didn't know how to dance. I didn't know how to dress. I had very bad dressing skills. So if you guys remember, Beverly Noner met Alejandro through the store he used to work at, and this is how I met Jenny. It was through this guy, and this guy, I met him at the store. Yeah, that's the only thing I can kind of compare it, but it's nothing close to Beverly Noner's story. So let me continue. So as the first couple of times that I went to the club, I was just sitting at the table or watching people dance. I didn't know how to really interact with people because I had nothing really to make myself compatible. I didn't have anything in particular that can kind of make me likable in that particular atmosphere. But unfortunately, I could never really. I can converse with the guys that were around there, but a lot of these guys were already drunk. They were drunk. They were kind of typical drunken Mexicans. And so the guy, he noticed a couple of things were going wrong. He really wanted me to have success, so he recommended me a girl that he knew. One thing that I began to notice, and this is something that Babby Loner actually mentioned, was about the Hispanic, well, not just Babby Loner, I think Latino sale, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's his YouTube channel, is a lot of times a lot of Hispanic men tends to date a lot of single moms. So obviously it's very common. So he introduced me to this single mom, and actually she was quite attractive. The only downside was the body fat that she had around her, but she talked about working out and losing it. So at first, it seemed like a good opportunity for me to, actually try. So this is when I started to, because I never liked drinking, and even until today, I don't really like it. Like, yeah, I understand the effects of it and why everybody likes it, but I don't really particularly like it. Because I am a gym rat, so I like to take care of my body. So I kind of didn't want to lose the opportunity. So I started like, getting tipsy or because I already had a designated driver. So we took turns. So I decided to drink that day. The only downside of this sorry about that. Hold up. Shit. Of all of this, the times that we went to the club, she really didn't have that interesting, she wasn't really interested in me. I don't think she was really ever into me. It's just I was the perfect opportunity or candidate because she already had a couple of kids. Because I can see how she was kind of wild, so she would dance with everybody. She kind of started dancing with this particular guy that he was actually a simp for her. So this is why I do believe she was just using him for for drinks and everything else. But she even told me she never liked him, that he was hideous. But she did tell me that she did have an interest. Well, she was interested in me, so we started to talk at first. Then it escalated to a couple of dates. But I kind of felt like it was just free meals, and it wasn't really like, I want to get to know you, what's interesting about you. If you guys ever dated, like, it's always trying to find out things about me. This was like more of a contract. Like, I just want a man who is hardworking, who knows what he wants in life, that likes kids, and I was very blue pill, so I thought all of this was normal. I already thought this was all about dating. This is pretty much what I have left. So we started hanging out more. We going on dates, and then there was a couple of things that really caught my interest. She had like 2 kids already. It was one, I don't even know, because even though if I was blue pill, I always knew that I wasn't compatible with a lot of girls, specifically wild girls. I was never really compatible, not even back in middle and high school. So I really asked myself, like, what makes this girl interested in me? Like, I'm too much of a nerd guy. This girl is wild. She's a party type. She is that typical kind of ghetto girl, and we had nothing in common interest. Like, I think the only thing what she saw in me was I was working, I had my own car. I think she kind of discovered, like, oh, because your family has a business, it means you have something, which is kind of stupid. Like, first of all, specifically older parents are not the typical people that want to give you anything for free. You have to earn it. And that's how my parents made me. That's how they raised me. They raised me to become this. They didn't want me to become a bum or a parasite, so they kind of always made me work. They made me, not like in a bad way, but they told me that I was never getting anything for free. So as it escalated for a couple of months, I can never secure her to become my girlfriend, because every time we would go hanging out at the club, she was a totally different person. When we were out of the club, she was trying to become this, like, oh, I'm a great girl for you, this and that. I'm like, wait a minute, Jenny, you're telling me a different story when you're drunk, when you're wild. And one thing that caught my attention was, if you're trying to be with me, because she did tell one of my other friends that she was interested in me, but now that I know it, it's because I was the perfect candidate, because she really thought I was going to become this sim, take care of the kids, not be a jealous type, because she was looking for a man that was not jealous, so she can go out. At the end of the journey of this particular friendship, where I decided to cut all strings is when we were at this, this is like the last time we went together to the club. She was completely acting strange, so that's when I found out she hated the other guy. The guy was pretty much a sim, when I found out that he was paying all these drinks. And second of all, she would tell everybody that she kind of liked sleeping around men. And no, I don't remember what else. Something really. Oh, so basically, she wants like a guy that wasn't jealous, that likes kids, and that also like, lets her accept male friends. And that's when I started to draw the line. Like, I can't do this. You know, we're not compatible. You're using me. So I got completely mad. So I kind of like avoided her for like 2 weeks. And yeah, and when we were text messaging, she was like a very like, oh, like trying to be romantic, trying to be this and that. And then the outside of the, outside of the text messages and the dinner dates, she was a completely different person. And the time I didn't buy her food, I didn't buy her drinks. So what happened was, I'm sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'm dealing with allergies, so let me. Sorry about that. So the time we were pretty much not talking, I wasn't buying her drinks, I wasn't giving her anything. She became a little bit different around me. She was more cold, she was more bold. And then Jenny started to can't remember exactly what we did. I don't remember. I think she was talking to this other guy. Then I went on vacation. When I came back on vacation, she already had a boyfriend, and that's how it all ended. Holy cow! Like I just got used. I got manipulated, and the guy that was in the butchery, he was supposed to be a good friend, but he gave me this like particular girl. Oh, before this is why now that I remember, this is like in around 2016, 2017 when I was pretty much leaving the religion. So, the last time me and her were trying to work it out and dance at the club, when she got really drunk, even that friend told me, I don't think this girl's fit for you, man. She just wants your money. And I'm like, you're the one that recommended me, bro. Like, and thanks to certain events that did not allow me to fall for that trap was one, a family member knew her. She didn't like her. She said, be careful with that girl. She's crazy. She will ruin your life. And second of all, she has some psychological problems. So, get away with that. So ever since then, that's when I started to like not care about dating anymore. And yes, and then that's how, I don't know, ever since like this event occurred, I didn't become the same person. I stopped doing this even before like discovering MGTOW and Black Pill. I kind of started to acknowledge that I should not buy women drinks. I should not go on a dinner date if they're not really interested in me. And throughout this event, like the rest of years, I didn't really date anymore because I was kind of like fed up. Like, yeah, it kind of bugs you that you lost an opportunity, because ever since then I never had any particular um, chances with like the skinnier girls or the better looking girls. They're always more with, they're more attracted to the crazier guys. I went on myself, like with my, I started hanging out with the friend still. Then he did some weird things, so I distanced myself a little bit from him. And I started going alone to the clubs. But I can tell how I was completely different when I was alone. They think you're weird. They think you're trying to like smash. I don't know. Women act around. If you're in a group, they are okay with you. But if you're alone, then they think you're just a weirdo. Until now, I think she married the guy. Updates. On the girl that I was trying to date, Jenny. She married the guy. They had another kid. And ever since then, I don't know much about them. Like, I kind of don't really talk to them. I don't really conversate. I know they're always on some drama with other people. So at the end of the day, I did dodge a bullet. I ended up finding out she was not a good friend either, with a lot of girls that despise her. And it's a very sad world that we have to live in this particular jungle, because it's still a jungle, but it's civilization. But ever since then, my mindset shifted. I had more bad luck with dating. When I'm dating or trying to go on a dates, a lot of weird things happen. Your money is gone. Well, this is basically not my entire story, but basically you wasted money, precious time, and nobody knows what they want. This girl Jenny didn't even know what she wanted. I don't even think she liked her boyfriend. It's just her boyfriend was the perfect candidate for her desires, for her standards. He's not jealous. He lets her do whatever she wants. without him putting a finger or any authority, because who knows? For this guy, it's a trophy wife. The only thing downside of all of this is basically, I don't know how to describe this. It's basically like, even let's say you're not trying to date, but when I was going out with her, I met so many people, and I just can't believe I'm not compatible with a lot of people. You know, you cannot be compatible with the conservatives, with the left. Then when you try to like have friends in your own ethnic group, I'm not compatible either, because a lot of the, my community, Hispanic community, doesn't really care for intellectualism. They don't care for other things, such as, now I'm not saying I'm not whitewashed or anything. It's just I have other interests. Like I love, to listen to some, let's say, a little bit of rock. I do like some classical music, or some like I like to read. I like to do other hobbies, and this is what makes me sad about my surroundings is, you can't find your own people. It's very difficult. I cannot have a very good conversation. Every time the last time I went to the club, when I was invited for my birthday party, it was like the conversations are useless. You just talk about dumb stuff. You talk about other things. And ever since then, I just had a different opinion. Like, that's when I found out that it was over for me to date my girls from my, own ethnicity, because a lot of the girls don't really care. Even the ones that go to college, or the higher educational girls, they are still a little bit different. They still go for these guys, the crazier guys, as long as he's working. And that's when I drew the line of like, yeah, dating's pretty much screwed. Sorry, man, it's hard to breathe. That's when I learned that, to draw the lines. Dating is screwed. Dating has shifted towards something more mediocre. You cannot find girls that can really fit your description anyway. So, and the reason how I even like knew that it was over, even before MGTOW, even before the last couple of relationships that I had, was girls that I really like really like me. They have nothing. They don't want to do nothing with me. They will just use me when it's convenient. Every time I conversate with them, if I talk fancy, if I talk about certain subjects, they just run away. And that's when I've noticed, because Jenny's husband is not a bad dude, and it's not his fault. And I really hope he knows what he's up to. But me and him, we were conversating. We had a nice conversation, because I see him from time to time at specific grocery stores. Like I said, I live in a small town. We were just conversating, because I don't care whatever happened. I never dated her. I never really. It's not like I lost anything. As we were conversating, we were talking about something interesting, and I remember like the girl distance, like she didn't want to be part of it. She like looked at me with disgust. I'm like, holy cow. But it is what it is, guys. I can't do nothing about it. And not only for dating, another thing I discovered is basically, this is why I don't have any patriotism or any nationalist pride. Not because of this event, but I noticed that even people like myself, or more of a different, our mindsets don't fit with any ethnicity. You might find a group that agrees with you, but once you notice the differences, you're still going to be, outcast or isolated, because people don't really care about other things. But that's pretty much it for the story, guys. And I do apologize that I'm not a good storyteller, but my life is not that interesting. I think Babbling has more interesting things to talk about. But I think it's kind of coincidence, because the Jenny girl, the Alejandra and Jenny, and then Ashley, and then it's like that's the only two things that I can really like consider something that correlates with the Babbling owner stories. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I got to get back to studying, and I just got out of the gym. So you guys live your own life, work out, eat healthy, get some knowledge, because that's the only thing we have left. But anyway, peace out.